What's happening, people? Happy Monday, everyone. Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Europe, and welcome everyone to our new live stream. We are proud to announce our daily broadcast streamed live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch TV, proudly sponsored by our partners at Forexy and Markets.com. Join us every day on your social media channel. Learn how investments work, win a prize every day, and find out what most Forex brokers don't want you to know. You can all find the links in the description. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and support us in delivering more great content. We are 9 minutes away from the US opening this week. We will have John Goddard, Executive Director at Forexy, joining us shortly for great markets talk. There's John Goddard, guys. He's going to join us shortly. Let's see what is happening prior to that. We have 1 day left to U.S. elections. U.S. President Donald Trump makes a last try to get voters in his favor with 5 rallies in 4 different states today. U.S. stocks are set for positive opening today after the worst week in the last 6 months. Crude oil rebounded, trading at 35.50. UK PMIs and European PMIs came out above consensus expectation earlier on, despite more European lockdowns. The Russian ruble fell to its 5-year low against the US dollar on concerns of what might happen after the US elections. Welcome to the US market opening, everyone. Let's have a quick look at the charts and see how the markets move today, and then we're going to welcome John Goddard, Executive Director at Forexy. So there's the economic calendar, guys. You can see the PMIs that I was telling you about. We started the day strong with a lot of announcements in the Eurozone. We had the Producer Manufacturing Index being announced in Spain, in Switzerland, in Italy, in France, in the Eurozone, and in Germany. Okay, and UK as well. UK, let's not forget, is still a part of the European Union till the 31st of December this year. You can see all the PMIs apart from the Swiss one coming out green, guys, above consensus expectations. And later on today, in a few hours, we're going to have the American PMI and the PCE price index. Now, let's have a quick look at the charts, guys, and then we're going to welcome John Goddard for the U.S. market opening. Who knows, maybe we're going to get the chance to ring the lovely bell, the lovely smiley bell together for the U.S. opening. Quick look at the charts, guys. We're looking at crude oil, which is currently trading at 35.34, slightly higher than this morning. It's currently testing the 50 moving average. And before I forget, guys, stay tuned, because towards the end of the broadcast today, we're going to release the first trading signals made by our investment specialist at InstructFX. Stay tuned and don't miss the trading signals. Moving on, we're looking at Euro USD continuing the downtrend, guys, not even making it to the 50 moving average and already bouncing off it, heading lower, currently trading at 116.31. We're looking at the pound, guys, the cable, which although it done a bit better today, it got rejected by the 50 moving average, as you can see on the screen. It's currently heading downwards. Yeah, probably testing the lows at 128.50 if it's going to continue the downtrend today. We see an RSI and a stochastic turning around, and the RSI does not have the power to go in the overbought sections. The US dollar 1 day ahead of the elections. We're looking at USD JPY. Apparently settling above the 200 moving average. We can see a gold cross to be formed shortly. Currently trading at 104.72. Let's see how the markets will open today and if the US dollar will get the boost it needs to push higher. Remember that slingshot effect that I was telling you about. We're looking at the Aussie dollar, guys, which is currently set to turn around. We see a red candlestick on a 1-hour chart, RSI and stochastic, very close to overbought sections turning around. Probably going to see a weak Aussie dollar. USD Canadian, the US dollar again is testing on a 1-hour chart the 200 moving average, apparently towards a positive opening, a positive markets opening today. Yeah, we see a green candlestick opening right now. USD CAD is currently trading at 132.72. Let's see how the markets open. Right, there it is, guys. We're looking at the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, which closed the last trading session in green. We see an RSI and a stochastic pointing upwards, but also we see a dead cross being formed between the 200 and the 50 moving average. Where to from here? Where to from here? Wait a few seconds and hopefully we will all find out. Dollar index, guys, US dollar index apparently in an uptrend. You can see that nice consolidation on top of the 50 moving average. There's that slingshot effect I was telling you about. Yeah, we saw the US dollar index pulling back a bit today. and getting rejected by the 50 moving average, currently trading at 94.15. And if this continues, and if we're going to see a positive US opening today, probably the US dollar index will go through the roof, testing the 94,400. Gold is again being rejected or testing the 200 moving average, guys. Currently trading at 18.90, 95. Better performance today for gold futures. We moving on to Brent oil futures or UK oil, guys, which again rebounded slightly today after a very bad market opening this morning. Currently testing the 50 moving average. Will they trade higher? Will they trade lower? We will find out in exactly 3 minutes at the US markets opening. And also Bitcoin shed a few pennies today, guys. Trading lower at 13,393 and being supported by the 200 moving average on a 60-minute chart. As we see right now, it's testing it, it's going through it. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen. We are exactly 2 minutes away from the US opening, guys. Let's get John Goddard on the line and ring the bell together for the first time this week, one day ahead of the US elections. Stay tuned. We're coming back in 30 seconds.
The person whom you're trying to reach is
right. I'm trying to get John Goddard on the phone, guys. Bear with us for just a second. I'm calling John Goddard live as we speak. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, John. How are you? Happy Monday. There we go, guys. John Goddard live at the US markets opening. Good afternoon, John. Happy Monday. America votes tomorrow. Are you ready for a memorable week?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well done. Well done. Now, let's ring the bell together for the US markets open. What do you say?
Go for it.
Let's go. And are you going to do the countdown with me? Let's count from 10 together.
10,
9, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the US trading session, everyone, and happy Monday with John Goddard at Forex. Right, John, what are the latest updates from Forex? I know you guys always have something cooking, something memorable.
We've got a lot going on at the moment. MT5 now live with stocks and shares from the US, just under 400. Absolute opportunity right now. That seems to be a lot happening in that area. Everyone wants to get in on the buying and selling of the stocks. So that's all available via the MT5 platform. So that's commission free as well. So again, more ways of making more money for our clients. The trading signals is going really well. Lots of viewers, lots of signals going to our Telegram pages, our Facebook pages. You can sign up from the Forex Cube website for receiving signals. 20, 30 a day. Keep an eye on those. Again, an absolute brilliant thing. On the SDP model side of things for us, which we're always keen to promote, we're still getting our audited trades by the Financial Commission, independent. So they're getting validated every month to make sure that we're putting those trades straight through to the market for our clients. So always add in the best value for the clients.
Very, very well done. So let's recap. You just added stocks on your MT5 platform to trade commission-free. Is that correct?
Correct, absolutely.
Right.
About 386, I think.
Awesome, awesome. 400 stocks to be traded commission-free with Forex.
Absolutely.
Right. I saw a few days ago you guys were nominated again for another award. Is that correct?
Yeah, but we weren't just nominated. It's moved to a win now. That was the Forex Awards was for best value broker in Africa.
In Africa, I know. We announced that. Were you nominated for something else?
Finance Magnets. We're now nominated for three prizes in the. I mean, Finance Magnets is probably one of the best review information on FX in the industry. So it's a massive win and pleasure to be nominated on those as well. Best execution, best new broker after 2 years, and best customer service. So yeah, always
well done. Congrats. Let's hope we see more and more nominations and more awards, because you guys deserve it. You're doing a great job. Now,
we're trying.
Let's get. You're definitely doing a great job, John. Now, we are 1 day away from U.S. elections. America started voting last week, and as things stand right now, we see Joe Biden leading in the polls with 52%. How will the markets react in case Joe Biden wins? What's your view on the markets? Will we see a strong U.S. dollar?
I mean, it's always right up until those sort of final few hours. You're going to get many places around the world that are going to be trading based on the hourly differences around the world. So, I mean, you've got the polls at the moment, which are, the cast votes and the areas for people. I mean, when we get down to the real nitty-gritty voting, I think in the last sort of 12 hours, that's where you'll start to see, as always, markets are going to go up, they're going to go down. I mean, where do we think it's going to be? I don't think the USD is really going to be the stronger or weaker. You're going to be looking at other currencies that are going to be affected by it.
We saw the Russian ruble tumbling on U.S. elections because they're afraid they might get sanctions. They might get bigger sanctions than they have right now. We saw the Turkish lira not doing so well last week.
Yeah, now, I think that's going to be the biggest area you're going to look at. I mean, if you look at the sways that have been over the last month, I mean, you look at gold, it hasn't. I mean, typically before an election, everyone gets nervous. They try to invest in something a little bit stable. You look at gold, it hasn't massively moved. I mean, it's had a move from, say, 1960 high back down to sort of the 1840s, now pushing back up to under 1900. It's only a 1.5% change, which is not massive in the terms of volatility on such a high value. So I think you're going to see more of an effect on maybe some of the indices. I think gold might move a little bit harsher in the next 24.
Yeah, we saw gold trading below the psychological level of 1900. Now, here's a tricky question for you. Do you see any chance that Donald Trump will win the elections, John?
Hold on, let me just get my crystal ball out. Hang on 1 second. That's just.
Do you think people made up their mind already and they're completely against Donald Trump? Because
well, let's take a step back 4 years ago, and we look at what happened 4 years ago. And you looked at all the rallies, and there was nobody at those rallies, and the Trump press were all hyping up all of these pictures and showing there was 10,000, 50, 100,000 people, and all of a sudden he was the back runner and then won, and that was from a massive behind. So you look at the positions now, and it's too close to call at 51%, I think was the polls a couple of hours ago. And I mean, it's either way, isn't it? I think what's going to make a difference is if he calls the swing votes.
Yeah, he's 10 points behind Joe Biden. Yeah. Now, do you think Donald Trump was a good president for the United States?
Personally, I think he was. Yes, he delivered on the majority of the promises that he said. And if you look at him as a businessman, we either like him or loathe him, but he's gone into a role that was pretty much about money, finances.
Exactly.
And he's a man that's known about being broke. He's a man that's built up riches and lost it again. So he's a businessman running the finances of a country. So I think if you look at it from that side of things,
from the business point of view, yeah, he was
from
a great
business
president.
point of view, people, you're running the government as a business as opposed to just an emotional side of things.
Exactly.
Take out the emotion.
That's the most difficult part. Now, we know it's very, very difficult to do that. We know Donald Trump was great from the money point of view for the US, but also he could have been better, let's say, in some public statements, in some other areas.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of areas there that potentially. I mean, he was very slow to react on the corona side of things.
Yes, and I think that's what led him to eventually lose the elections. Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be the deciding one, I think that is going to be. I mean, you look at Biden's side of things; he's massive for a reform on that, in terms of the ability to the government to hand out the funds available and so forth, and the stimulus packages. So I think he might come through on that side of things.
Do you reckon
sure.
Donald Trump could have done things differently to get reelected? Because I know he was pushing heavily the stimulus, and unfortunately, his own party at some point turned against him, and they didn't approve the stimulus measures. That was his last straw, basically. Could Donald Trump have done things differently to get reelected?
I think if you look at any election campaign, you've always got to look back and think, could I have done this differently? Could I have done that differently? I think it all comes down to, at the end of the day, these things do not come down to policies and your view on policies. I think right now it's more about the likability factor of that person, and are you going to deliver on the things that you say? So I'm not convinced he could have done anything differently other than get his own campaign people and team back in sort of behind him to get that uniform approach. But people have already made their minds up based on what they've seen over the last year. I don't think that the last rallies, I mean, he's pushing for another 5 rallies in the next 5-6 hours to try and generate some more votes. But I think when you get down to the last 6 and 12 hours of voting, I think you say people have already made their mind up. They know what they're going in to vote for.
Right. Now, enough about Trump, enough about the elections. Let's wait another 24 hours and see what's going to happen. Now, John, I know you're English, and I want to talk to you about the pound for a minute. Are you up for it?
I'm British. I'll go with the English, but British.
All right. My bad. So, very big year for the pound, very heavy year for the pound. We see Brexit just around the corner. We see a no-deal Brexit that might happen. And new lockdown measures starting in UK this week. How's the UK economy looking, and how do you think the UK economy will cope with all this pressure? Because the pressure on the pound is tremendous.
Well, it's interesting. Look, I mean, the UK requires a lot of import. I mean, it's a simple fact that the UK government does not, other than financial services, which are under threat in terms of the passporting and those areas. So financial services is going to take a bit of a battering in the UK. I think it's going to come back very strong, by the way. My view is that the UK will suffer for the next probably 3 to 4 years while they find their feet again. But in the financial services, and they will become a super powerhouse in their own like. And you look at like Singapore, and you look at some of these, super kind of areas of finance. And I think UK will come back, because let's not forget, a lot of the European way that finance is done and regulations is all driven by UK, and now they're having to do that themselves. But also, as I alluded to, I mean, UK imports everything, so it's not going to shoot itself in the foot for its members of the public and the general consumers. You look at BMW, you look at Mercedes in terms of in Europe, UK is one of its highest importers. So they're not gonna kill a massive market just to get some extra coffers. So I think there'll be a no deal, but I think there'll be some side deals, certainly in terms of allowing certain breaks in certain categories. So in the short term, my opinion is that the UK will suffer for the next 2 to 3 years, possibly 4 to 5. But I think they will come back a lot stronger. But what does that mean for the pound at the moment? I mean, the pound hasn't really moved for the last 6 months.
It's been dropping. It's been dropping.
It's dropped down to 10 here. I mean, it was back at 16 for a little while, up at 15 for a little while, and 18 for a quick shot a couple of weeks ago. But if you look at that as a percentage of, it's not moved more than 2%, a majority across the year. So I don't think until the Brexit's done, until we get past into January, February, we see what the COVID is doing. Let's be honest, all countries right now are going to suffer, and the economies are going to suffer.
Exactly. UK done a very good thing last week when they announced they signed the new post-Brexit deal with Japan regarding imports and exports. So they're trying to cover their back.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's going to be some agreements being done with countries outside of the UK, and that'll be an interesting one as well. On if Biden's got some good ties with Ireland, he's got some good ties with the UK in terms he wants to get that. So that's going to have I think a pretty good impact on. It could be good for the pound. But right now, I'm not seeing any particular massive sways.
Very likely, we're going to see a very red end of the year. Now, quick question. What would you say is a good approach to the markets in the next 48 hours, John? What should traders do from your point of view? Because the volatility is supposed to be extreme.
It will happen. I mean, this is not this happens all the time. We look at European elections, look at UK. We even look at just, a monthly effect, on your presentation that you do. on the payroll, and unemployment and so forth. There's always volatility at the moment, and it's about how you handle those volatilities. They always come back to a norm. So I would suggest right now it is about making sure you've got the relevant margin, your accounts are topped up to be able to deal with those volatilities. Is important, and maybe try some new areas as well. Maybe look at what other currencies might be doing against the effects.
You mentioned something really, really interesting at the opening. We were talking about some exotic currencies. You said the dollar might not be the one, or the euro, or the pound. You might want to look at some more exotic currencies.
Not even just exotic currencies. I mean, start to look at the yen. Start to look at some other currencies that might start having an effect on, as you say, the British. You've got an agreement now with Japan. Does that then affect the USD, JP yen? So there's always just keep an eye on those other currencies right now in terms of that's the time to make a possible sell or a buy and make those monies
allow more margin to your trading account.
Sorry?
Definitely allow more margin to your trading account.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. And the thing to mention there is now a good time to mention one of our promotions that we're currently running?
Sure, go on.
Or am I jumping?
No, go on. What have you got? I mean, we know about the stocks. We mentioned them.
We've got a risk-free trading promotion at the moment. One free trade. I mean, some terms and conditions that come with it. But we're realizing there's a potential of that volatility. So you can choose one of your trades that was the worst trade, and we will credit that amount of that loss back to your trading account, so you can get a second go at trading.
One risk-free trade. That is incredible, considering what's happening with the markets today. Awesome.
That's for experienced traders, new accounts, clients with current accounts already. That's not one of these, new customers only. That's all clients.
Right. Well, for the U.S. elections, anyone should be welcome to trade as long as they trade carefully and they allow more margin. And if they wanted to trade stocks, they can trade with Forexy on their MT5 platform, commission-free.
Absolutely.
And to sweeten up the deal, one risk-free trade.
Correct.
Amazing. John, thank you ever so much for being with us today.
Visit the website and have a look at the terms and conditions.
Awesome. Forexy.com it is then. John Goddard, everyone. John, thank you for being with us today. I'll talk to you after the U.S. elections.
Thank you for your time, Andrew. Take care.
Have a great one. Take care, John.
Bye-bye.
Right, guys, we had John Goddard with us. Very interesting interview. Very, very interesting interview. We are already a few minutes into the US Open. Quick look at the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, guys, and see how they performed. And then I'll show you the amazing trading signals made by our market analysts today. Okay, and I'll wish you all happy trading. And we're coming back with the Money with Giovanni, the passive trader. Right. Looking at the S&P 500, we see a positive opening today, guys. The S&P might push a bit higher again to test the 50 moving average if it has the power. Okay, it's all about the news that's coming from US today. Dow Jones again opened positive today. Now we see a red candlestick probably pulling back a bit to fill in the gap. But RSI stochastic are pointing upwards, and we're only a few hours away from both Donald Trump and Joe Biden getting ready for the US elections. Bitcoin once again got rejected by the 200 MA, guys. Is trading slightly higher at 13,482. Stay tuned. We're coming back live in 30 seconds with the signals of the day. Right, and we're back, guys. As promised, the signals of the day, guys. There we go. We're looking at the Euro-US dollar on a 4-hour chart. No, on a 15-minute chart, sorry. Okay, Euro-USD is capped at 116.56 on the upside, having failed to penetrate the 116.26 resistance. On the upside is likely to go up to 116.56 resistance and get retested. Should it be successful, we're looking at a further price target of 116.65. On the downside, the second retest of the support at 116.26 is likely to fuel further market depreciation down to 116.15. This is the first trading signal, guys. Let's move to the second trading signal. We're looking at the cable, guys. On the upside, markets are retesting the 1293 resistance. If penetrated, the potential advance to 129.60 is likely. That's for the upside. On the downside, with a failed swing at 120.93, the markets return to trading in a range. A potential retest may lead the markets as far as 128.80. That is for the cable. Let's look at gold, guys. Let's look at gold, which, as we see right now, it's pushing above the center line of the Bollinger Bands. On the upside, we see markets rallying towards 1891.61 with a further advance limited to 1894.20. On the downside, if it's going to turn around, the price targets are 1880.96 and 1877.84. And last but not the least, oil, guys. On the upside, oil is currently testing the resistance at 35.91 with a potential price target to 36.52. And on the downside, oil took a deep dive over the weekend, testing the support at 34.19 and 33.79. This is what is happening from the trading room, guys. These are the trading signals. Let's have a quick look, a 2-minute look at some interesting news, and then we're going to end it for today. We're going to welcome Giovanni, the passive trader, with another round of dumb money. Quick look at the top 5 things to know in the markets today. Number one on the board, Trump mobilizes the lawyers. A poll by the Wall Street Journal and NBC indicated that the Democratic Party nominee, Joe Biden, leads President Donald Trump by 10 points among the electorate by 52 and 42%. With only 2 days to go before the presidential and congressional elections. However, the same poll indicated that Biden's lead had narrowed to 6% or less in some key battleground states, putting some of them within the margin of error. Very interesting, guys. I think we're going to have a tight one. Number 2 on the board, guys. U.S. stocks set to rebound from red October. We already saw a positive opening. Dow 30 futures were up 452 points or 1.7% at 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, S&P 500 contract was up 1.6%, and the Nasdaq futures were up 1.4%. We saw the positive opening. Number 4 on the board, ISM PMI, Berkshire Hathaway, and Mondelez due to report their quarterly earnings. Breaking news coming in right now. Wall Street rebounds with focus on White House race. Obviously, the next 24 hours will be crucial. And number 5 on the board, guys, Russian oil. It's about oil. With producers fret over virus election result, the Russian ruble fell to its lowest since March and tested a near 5-year low against the dollar on concerns at what awaits the country after the U.S. elections. Analysts predict tough sanctions against Russia if the Democratic Party wins the election. Therefore, the turmoil of the Russian ruble today as delayed punishment for the extensive Russian interference in the 2016 through social media and other channels. The dollar rose as high as 80.92 rubles before retracing moderately amid reports that the central bank intervention to support the currency. Reinforcing the ruble's weakness is the continued collapse in oil prices, which hit 5-month lows over the weekend. U.S. crude futures were still below $35 a barrel, while Brent futures were just over $37 per barrel. This is what is happening with the markets today, guys. We had John Goddard for a fantastic interview. Stay tuned. We're coming back in a few minutes with Giovanni, the passive trader, and trading traps revealed. Until then, remember to trade responsibly and may all your trades be in the money.